Terra, August 11, 2011. What does it take to surprise you? What you expect about everything comes from what you know. We are not talking here about what you hope or what you sort of believe. We're talking about those things that you have chosen to accept as truth in what you think of as your past, and then practiced into what you just plain know. These are the facts of life you have accumulated. They define what you attract into your world. That complex one world out there that you seem to be sharing with everyone else is made up of the intersections between your world and all those other worlds, flowing and swirling and shifting to your commands, but always miraculously merging into the illusion of a single, solid, continuous existence. By your expectations, you have set the boundaries around what can happen in your world. That which you know is a certainty will happen. Those things which you know are probable will happen often. Those things which you know are possible will happen sometimes. Those things which you know are unlikely will happen occasionally. And that which you know is impossible will not happen. If your world comes from your expectations, can you ever be surprised? Let's look at some examples from your space-time world. When you awoke this morning, you were instantly in a world with time and gravity and the sun rising in the east into a 24-hour day. All of this is part of your fabric of certainties. It took you zero conscious focus to create it and zero time. At the other end of the scale, there are the impossibilities. The sun will not rise in the west, the day will not be 30 hours long, your house, your street, and your city will not have disappeared. There are no surprises in these two bookends of your possibility spectrum. You could, of course, choose to step outside the rules of your space-time game and change any of these things, but then they would no longer be certainties because you would know it is within your power to change them. Before we look at what's in between those bookends, we would like you to understand two things. The difference between your conscious and subconscious expectations and your natural state of joy and abundance. There are some among you who are sure you know what you expect, and what you expect isn't showing up. So the law of attraction obviously cannot be this pervasive, all-powerful force we make it out to be. Think about this. Can you, by thinking about any given topic, really know what it is you expect? Well, you can tell what you consciously expect, but because you do not have easy access to that subconscious background tapestry, you will not be able to think your way to all the answers. Here is our often used but good example of this. Move something you use a lot, say your waste paper basket. Consciously you know now where it is. What do you know subconsciously? It is unknowable. For a few weeks what you know consciously and subconsciously will be different, and the only time you find out what your subconscious knows is when, without thinking about it, you start to throw something away. Practically speaking, you could spend the rest of your life trying to learn the details of that background fabric and you wouldn't get close. As to your natural state, let us use the analogy we have used through Esther. Your natural state is like that of a cork being held under the water. As soon as you release it, it will bob to the surface. So it is with you. You can pinch yourself off from source by harboring fears and tensions and thoughts of lack. But every time you relax into who you are, when you take time out to think of happy things, when you distract yourself with joyful activity, your direction is immediately up towards the surface, towards that place of peace and power. All that is necessary for you to float into alignment is to stop holding yourself down. Now let's pick up the discussion about your world between those two certainty bookends in those possibilities and probabilities that are your playground. And let's think about surprises. If you're generally creating something positive, like say abundance, then the details of what shows up may be a surprise. But surprises like this can only be small ones, because if your conscious and subconscious are aligned, you're getting what you consciously expect. Similarly for negative things, if you're worried that something bad is probable, and you've practiced that into an equally bad subconscious expectation, then when it shows up there will not be much surprise involved. Big surprises occur when your conscious and subconscious expectations are out of whack, and when the event is important to you. Take our example of moving your wastebasket from your right to your left. Later, when you ball up that paper and throw it to the right, there's obvious misalignment, but it's no big deal. Now say you learn to drive in the USA, where you drive on the right, and you fly to Britain and rent a car. Now the difference between left and right is a big deal, and your surprise will be great indeed if you make a similar mistake and find yourself head-on to the oncoming traffic. Surprises always tell you something. Heed them. So where does all this lead us? If your world is a mirror of your expectations, and if you cannot think your way to knowing what they all are, how can you take corrective action and create new things? Well, here's the good news. It's not important to know all the details. It's only important to know you're out of alignment, and that you can know in advance. You don't have to wait for the wake-up call of a big and sometimes ugly surprise. There's two ways to approach this, starting from how you feel or starting from what you want. So, how do you feel? And the only important distinction here is positive or negative. If it's negative, that says what you want is out of alignment with what you expect, consciously in part, but mostly subconsciously. The 300-pound gorilla in this room is your subconscious. Next, let the feeling lead you to what it is you really want. Alternatively, start with one thing you want, what you really want. Bring it to mind, and then ask yourself what you really expect. You'll pretty soon get a feeling about that, good or bad. Or from our discussion on surprises, try this. If what you want was starting to manifest big time, what would show up today or tomorrow? Now imagine it showing up just like that. Now think, would you be surprised? Yes means misalignment, and astonishment, big surprise, means big misalignment. So now the work starts. Remember, it's not about what you have to do, it's what you have to be. All you are now setting out to do is bring your habits of expectation into alignment with what you want. Think of that wastebasket and that opposite side of the road driving experience. In each case, you can learn new habits. So it is with your life on earth. Practice being in that new place. Imagine it with the freedom and intensity of a 3-year-old playing make-believe. Be a Pollyanna. This is the only doing that is required. Without it, no amount of doing will help. With it, no amount of doing is necessary. Of course, there will always be doing. You are doing creatures after all. But it will be inspired and it will not feel like work. So we wish you a life of mild, pleasant surprises. We wish you the joy of discovering how powerful you are. It is yours for the asking, and as always, we are here to help. You have but to ask.